Since the election of Donald Trump, we see rent-a-mobs claiming that he is a fascist. Many of these rent-a-mobs are funded by George Soros. Most of the people don't seem to understand what the word fascist means. To help them understand, we are going to define all of the isms: capitalism, crony capitalism, fascism, socialism, and communism. First, we have capitalism. The means of production stay in private hands. Businesses must provide goods and services people will purchase on a voluntary basis. The profit motive drives quality, and competition lowers prices. Next, we have crony capitalism, private business subsidized by government, giving it an unfair advantage over other competitors. A good current example would be Tesla. An example from the past would be Solyndra.
Congress is trying to figure out who's to blame for the collapse of Solyndra, the solar panel company that filed for bankruptcy last week after running through more than $500 million of taxpayer stimulus money.
Solyndra expects to hire 1,000 workers to manufacture solar panels and sell them across America and around the world.
Next, we have fascism. Private business, so heavily regulated, in effect, it is being run by government. A good example of this would be Obamacare.
Some hard facts to back up the notion that President Obama's health care reform has been a financial failure. Correspondent Rich Edson looks at the disturbing events that are costing you and your fellow Americans some serious money.
More than $1 billion wasted and $1 billion more owed. That's the assessment of the majority staff of the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations and its report on the Obamacare cooperatives. The details were first reported by Fox News.
What we found out is that a lot of bad decisions were made.
Obamacare created 23 nonprofit cooperatives, insurance companies designed to increase competition and lower costs. More than half have failed. The administration loaned $2.4 billion to these co-ops. The failed dozen borrowed $1.2 billion of that. The committee report says they have repaid nothing to the government, and in addition owe doctors, hospitals, and others more than $1 billion.
Next, we have socialism. The means of production are in the hands of government. Competition for customers ends. Workers all receive equal pay. The profit motive ends. A good example of this is Venezuela.
So let's talk a little bit about this, because you point out that what's happening in Venezuela is the end game of hardline socialism. Is there such thing as softline socialism?
Well, yes, of course there is. You see it in Europe all the time, quasi-socialism. But what you're seeing the real thing in Venezuela and how well it works. I mean, Venezuela, 31 million people. The largest oil reserves in the world, larger than Saudi Arabia.
Isn't that incredible?
It is incredible. It was once the richest nation in Latin America. It's now it's the poorest. I mean, for years now, people haven't been able to walk into a grocery store and buy eggs or milk or even toilet paper. I saw the Soviet Union back before the walls came down.
Yeah.
Venezuela right now is worse. The Soviet Union did a better job of feeding its people, and it's all because this idea, the socialist promises like communism, it sounds wonderful, especially young people, undergraduates.
Yeah.
The problem is it doesn't work. And when the theories don't work, instead of adjusting the theories to human complexity, rulers always try to force humanity to adjust to the theory. And so that's what we're seeing in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Next, we have communism. Communism takes socialism to the next step. Private property ends. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. The profit motive is gone. Equal pay for all. So, is President Trump trying to increase regulations on business as any fascist would do?
This executive order directs each agency to establish a regulatory reform task force which will ensure that every agency has a team of dedicated real team of dedicated people to research all regulations that are unnecessary, burdensome, and harmful to the economy, and therefore harmful to the creation of jobs and business Each task force will make recommendations to repeal or simplify existing regulations. The regulatory burden is for the people behind me and for the great companies of this country and for small companies an impossible situation. We're going to solve it very quickly. Every regulation should have to pass a simple test. Does it make life better or safer for American workers or consumers? If the answer is no, we will be getting rid of it and getting rid of it quickly.
It's pretty plain to see that Donald Trump is not a fascist.